What's going on, guys? Getting another video from me, I guess. Once again, it seems like I'm been watching Hiberniason videos more than much of anything else, but it's just, I don't know, it stimulates the dialogue that's been going on, and the things that have been discussed have been fantastic. The newest one, Weapons of Mass Destruction, and he's mentioning the General, which is another another gentleman that I haven't had a chance to really go into his videos, nor do I have the time. There's no way. So I try to stick to one particular thing that interests me, and plus, it's fun. I can't picture you, Irish, like just serenely sitting on a hayride. It just cracks a smile when I think of this. You just kind of chilling on a hayride. It's funny, but I know you have kids, and you care and take really good care of your responsibility as a father, which, man, if only the majority of the people in our country did that, we would have a lot less problems and a lot less self-centered, narcissistic people in the world. And a lot of people keep coming up to me, and everyone's got their theories on what's going to happen and what should you prepare for. You have to base that on where you live. Like, obviously, terrorism is one of the big key elements of my thought process because of my close vicinity to New York City. And the likelihood is an attack of that nature and something significant. The EMP is like a worst case scenario, which I think is the most likely because it's the most efficient. And while we're trying to figure out who attacked who, because it could easily be deployed in an asymmetrical warfare scenario. It's not like back in the day where you could just sit there and hear the right machine gun and know who's shooting at you, or whose helmet, what helmet are they wearing? Oh, that uniform. I know who attacked us. It's not like that anymore, and it's rightfully so, because of the ability of this country in general to be able to launch attacks anywhere in the world at short notice. The enemy knows that too. So they're going to want to strike us in a way that's going to not only cripple us, our infrastructure, but it will give them time to mobilize their next move. And the only time I can see ever some kind of invasion, some people talk we're going to get invaded, and it's a very good possibility. But I believe that the first attack is most likely going to be of a terrorist nature, because it's so easy to do with our porous borders. With the limit and cuts that have been done on our military, we definitely do not have the means to protect our shores the way we used to. And the enemy follows us too. I mean, anything you can look up, the enemy, I'm sure, has, and then some. So that, to me, being prepared for that particular scenario. So what would you have to do? You would have to be able to have a long, extended period of time to stay in your general area, your where you live. The only thing that would throw a wrench into my plans would be that if it was a nuke. And most likely, the place that they'd want to nuke is New York City for the psychological effect it will have on the country. The fact whether you like New York City or not, that's why they call it the World Trade Center. It's a center of commerce. It's known throughout the world, and for that city to be obliterated or rendered uninhabitable, can you imagine not only just the psychological effect it would have on the country, but the psychological effect it would have on the world? And it would be a sign for sure that the United States, it's done for, because in a sense it's almost looked at as a capital city, not DC, but New York City. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, but you look at the world and and the immigration that used to go through there, and all those stories and all those histories are still alive and well, especially overseas. So that's why I prepare in the way I do, and I try to make sure, like I said, to have everything that I can as far as without electricity, because I don't have the know-how to actually set up any structure of that manner, besides maybe, the generators that are in my neighborhood that other people have, but they're only going to last for as long as there's gas, and I just rather focus on other things. And Irish, you were talking about that women can just sit there and rattle off what this flower and that flower is. Just what I do, and I've talked about this before, I get like different packets. This is willow herb. It's all coming out backwards, but Sand Mountain Herbs is one of the places where I get these, and they're seeds that they create. They're all they're not genetically modified. They're heirloom seeds, like lemon bergamot. I couldn't tell you what the heck lemon bergamot is, but my solution is you buy the seeds from a trusted source, one that's not heirloom seeds, and like lemon bergamot, it comes from the Oswego Indians, and they use that for stomach upset, and it can be used as a stimulant, and it also can be used for coughs and colds. A lot of the herbs that I get are ones that can help in colds and alleviate congestion and stuff like that, because that's really what kills you pretty quick. Is you'll get just a regular cold and then it turns into something else if you don't control it or maintain control over those symptoms. And so this kind of takes the foraging out of the equation, because if you plant these around your own property and you make note where they are and really just let them grow wild, you'll not only see what they are, you'll be able to look and identify them because you grew them, and you'll know that you grew them. And so when it spreads across your property naturally, then you're going to have your own little medicine cabinet right in the backyard. Like I said, it would, if there's some kind of nuke in my area, then that would probably render that whole plan useless. But you have to, plan for the worst, hope for the best is what I always hear people say. And these things are ways that you can kind of think out of the box. I can't only plan with the assumption that New York City is going to get nuked, because I'm not a soothsayer. I can't. I don't have a crystal ball that's going to tell me exactly what's going to happen. But I can use the process of trying to think how your enemy thinks. What would they want to do? They would want to render the infrastructure pretty much useless. So then our government is not only dealing with the dual problem of getting the infrastructure back, but they're also trying to keep their eye on another attack. And the amount of people that look forward to this opportunity of the grid going down. And this is part of the reason why we've gotten into this discussion of, and Hiberniason's done a great series. You got to search his videos and look at them, like how do you set up perimeters, like how do you think along the lines of security when there is no security. And I don't care what anybody says. Some people say, oh, it's mostly going to be scared people running around. Yeah, it's true. But there's also going to be people that are going to take the opportunity that presents them. I can't even tell you how many times, including when I was at one time at Get Out Safe, and there was a gentleman that said something to somebody that said, well, I just prepare by stocking bullets, and that's it. I'm just going to take what I need. Those people are out there. Those people, when faced with hunger and when faced with desperation, or even worse, when faced with a hungry child, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's what the Bilski Brigade that I keep talking about, the movie Defiance, those people went and raided. They had to raid sometimes farms, even if they were anti-Semites or not. It was inconsequential. They had 1,200 mouths to feed. So that's reality. I deal with reality. I deal with historical precedents. And that's what you go by. That's how you can somewhat gauge and figure out what's going to happen. As far as monetary collapse, everyone keeps wondering, oh, well, look, the monetary system is going to completely fold over, and we're going to have. I can't see that happening. I could see it slowly degrading as it has been. I could see it being expedited by an event such as an EMP or some kind of attack, or as Hibernia was talking about, a bio attack could definitely set the market reeling. You saw it after September 11th. The market was I think it spurned a recession that time. So, but the matter that the world predominantly still uses the dollar as its main trading, especially for buying oil, that gives us an advantage. How long it's going to last when you've had Brazil and Venezuela and Iran and China all trying to find another way of doing currency to try to exclude the dollar, that's further down the line. It's not something that's going to happen immediately. Once an infrastructure is set up, this infrastructure, the dollar, being used as the standard around the world, people are creatures of habit, regardless. Even if it's a country that might not necessarily be our ally, they're still creatures of habit. They kind of want to stick with, and deal with other things rather than creating their own currency. But they will do it when they feel that it will be easier to achieve. When you have anti-American sentiment continually rising and more people saying that they will sign on board. That's the thing. If you only have a few people signing on board, it might not be in the country's best interest to do it. But if you get enough people to say, enough with the dollar. But that's the good thing about with the dollar being the standard is it's going to be felt last here. It's going to be felt worse all over the world. And the only way I could see that collapse happening, there's too many ins and outs of our economy. There's too much, it's too complicated for it to just fall apart the way some people say, these doomsday sayers. I believe it's going to be in the form of terrorism, asymmetrical attack, and then that'll eventually lead to like a world war. Because if we get attacked in the sense of an EMP, in the mannerisms that we've been discussing, that is going to send the world into a tailspin that probably will not recover. Because if we're crippled, it's going to send a ripple effect through the whole world, and that's when people are going to want to take advantage of the situation and possibly jockey for position of power and control. When you have a chance and you have an opportunity, and the main player is rendered helpless for a moment, you don't sit there and wait for that person. If you knock the big guy down, you don't let him get back up, and then get back into your fighting position. You take him out. You take that threat out, or what you perceive as a threat. You annihilate it. You neutralize it. So, and there was other points that he put in the video too. I also worry about weaponized versions. In fact, the United States weaponized H1N1. Could go in the United States with the guys so we have a way to have a cure. I don't know. Whenever you're playing around Mother Nature in that way, it tends to bite you back pretty hard. And that's another thing. With a societal collapse, you don't have the means of a CDC running in and quarantining people. And that's part of the thing that they're concerned about, let's say with the bird flu and the swine flu. Once that morphs where it can go from human to human, we are well overdue. That's another thing that caused me to actually prep for a year, because the Spanish flu was the worst natural disaster in human history. And when you study that, it's something to study and pay attention to. We're well overdue. All the viral experts, I can't even say the word, viralists, is that the word? I can't think of it. I'm kind of tired, so I got called out again. As soon as I turned my phone on and woke up. But anyway, I'm running out of time. I'm almost hitting my 15-minute mark. But I just want to throw those thoughts out there. Do your best, let God do the rest. And I put a video link below on reasons why I prepped, those for new subscribers. You might find it interesting. Okay?